the class. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Mickey. Look at
Mhm.
that. Who is that? That's not Kira, right?
No, Kira.
Oh, what
It's
happened?
Really,
Cleo.
You gave him a name?
I didn't know
They're
that. No.
they're between Cleo and Luna. What do you think?
Cleo, and both names are very nice. Cleo Luna. You can make
Really?
one. No, no, I'm just joking. Both names are nice. But is it a male or female cat?
Female
We
cat.
we think female.
Cleo is also the name for one of, it's a female name. Yeah. How was your day, Mitch, Mickey? How was your day?
Was good, teacher. Was good. I went to the school. I did some homework that I needed to deliver, and I took a picture of some sneakers that I bought a few days ago, and that I need to upload in my page.
Do you have a web page now?
No, on my Instagram page.
Oh, okay. Well, that works as a promotional tool, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Very nice, very nice. How about you, Mitch? How was your day today?
Pretty normal, nothing special. Uh, like a normal Tuesday.
But you didn't have classes, right? Or you had some class in the
Yeah,
morning?
yeah, I had. We are just counting the days to the final exams at six, 60, June 16.
June 16th, you have the final exams, but you quit having classes, right? You just have the final exam and that's it.
Yeah, in the classes now we are finishing, or we are doing the final projects for the final exams. Those going to be our exams. Then technically we are doing the our exams science now.
Okay, I see. Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much for joining. I'd like to go ahead with the book that we started reading the other day, which I think we found all of us interesting. Is not something new for
About,
you, of course. It's not something
about the
new.
boundaries.
Yeah, remember that book?
Yeah,
Which one?
Yeah, that was an interesting book. Boundaries,
Oh yeah.
boundaries. But what happens when there are no boundaries in life? What do you think a life without boundaries is going to look like?
with no
Boundaries.
boundaries.
Yeah, with no boundaries, what's going to happen?
Depends of the context. Could be, well, of course it could be affect if it is just for one person. That person could damage their health, physical and psychological way too hard. But if it is in the all the society, maybe many of us won't be alive because there's, for example, no rules for killing or not people or or things like that, and no laws. Um, well, I think we of us are so glad there are boundaries in a lot of aspects in life.
Yeah, but let me ask you then, Mitch or Mickey, when there are no rules, who thrives in life? In other words, who succeeds? Who becomes a winner? What type of life do we live in? What does it look like, in your opinion, Mickey, Mitch?
The smart ones.
The smart ones. Well, okay, that's an answer. The smart ones. What do you think, Mickey? Who thrives?
Mm, yeah, the smart ones, uh, or people who wants to mm, help others.
How about the strongest? Could it be like the rule of the jungle? The strongest thrives, or that makes no sense? What do you think? It
Yeah.
becomes like the rule of the strongest. If a person is the strongest, he is the king of the jungle. Uh, but I don't know if this makes sense. Who would defeat who? In other words, let's say that this is an interesting, complex question. If there is a conflict and you choose the smartest against the strongest, which are not necessarily the same, could be the same, right? Maybe it's the same, but maybe not. Who
Mhm.
would thrive? Who thrives in a world that where there are no rules? And then Mitch says probably the smart ones or the strongest ones or the wittiest. Who would thrive? And it's not a very surreal question. It's a real question because we're now in that kind of life in Irapuato, right? There is no boundaries for people who have, for criminals, for example, they have no limits. So who's going to thrive in a society like this? Or how can we fix it? We come back to the same topic, right?
Mhm.
What do you think?
Uh, could you remember me the meaning of thrives?
Thrives, who will succeed? Who will survive?
Ah,
Who will come victorious?
maybe. Okay, thank you. The smartest, which do the assertive strategies in every aspect of life.
Can you give an example? I understand what you say, but maybe you can exemplify that, please.
For example, um, learn. Always wanted to learn curiosity of everything, and about that, you know, in the empiric way, how to, for example, treat people, take important decisions in the economic way, social way, um, things like that. That encourage you a better or worse people.
Okay, that's very important. Um, okay, let's talk about a smart person and a strong person. What's the definition, Mickey, of a strong person, and what's the definition of a smart person? And then we go from there because what Mitch says is really interesting, right? You're able to acquire things intuitively, how to treat people, how to make smart decisions, how to detect when there is a threat and when there is an opportunity, which is another aspect which is important in life, right? Threats and opportunities. So, how do you define a smart person and how do you define a strong person in this modern society?
Um, well, probably I would say that in the totality, and a smart person is a strong person too. Because when you're smart, you can how can I say this? You can accept or how to say deny,
Deny?
yeah,
I don't, yeah,
the things that are happening in your life, so you can have a better control of you and in your life. So I think that when you are strong, not I'm talking about physically, but strong in in terms of mind. Obviously, you are smart and you can choose better things to you and your life.
very interesting. Okay, so let's. Very good. Thank you very much. I just wanted to have a context for the questions that we're going to have in a moment. So, what would happen if there were no boundaries in life, right? Let's read this funny story and then we comment it, please. Who wants to start, please?
Me.
Okay, please.
Uh, the alarm jangled very eye from too little sleep. Shuri shut up the noisy intruder, turned out the bedside lamp, and sat up in bed. Looking blankly out the wall, she tried to get her bearings. What means bearings?
All her things to get dressed, all her bearings, all her objects to get dressed.
Okay, thank you. Uh, why aren't doing this day? Lord, didn't you promise me a life of joy? Then, mm, as a cobwebs left her mind, Sherry remembered the reason for her dread. The 4 o'clock meeting with Todd's third grade teacher, the phone call returned to her memory. Sherry, this is Jean Russell. I wonder if we could meet about Todd's performance and his behavior. Todd couldn't keep still and listen to his teachers. He didn't even listen to Sherry and Walt. Todd was such a strong, wild child. I, strong, wild child, and she didn't want to quench his spirit. Wasn't that more important? Well, not trying to worry about all that. Oh,
I'm
Sherry
sorry,
said
I
to her,
clicked a wrong key.
"Don't worry." Sherry said to herself, raising her 35-year-old body of the bed and body into the shower. I got enough troubles to keep me bossy all day. Under the shower, Sherry's mind moved out of first gear. She began mentally tickling of the day's schedule. Todd, 9, and Amy 6 will have been handful even if she weren't a working mother. Let's see, fits breakfast, pack 2 lunches, and finish reading Amy costume for the school play. That will be a trick, finishing sewing the costume before the carpool picks her up at 7, 3 cups, not 3 quarters.
Okay, so what is going on in this situation? Who is she gonna meet and why, Mickey? Thank you, Mitch. Why is she going? Who is she gonna meet and why? What is the reason for her meeting that she doesn't like?
Mm, I don't know, teacher.
I think
I'm
she's
having problems with my audio. Actually, I'm trying to fix it because I can hear
okay.
Mitch, but I hear an echo too. So
Oh,
sometimes
okay.
it is like mixed. But now that you're talking, probably it's the I don't know if it was the microphone Mitch, but now I can hear you better.
Okay. It was well. Sherry is the mother of two kids,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and Jean is the teacher, apparently, right, Mitch?
Yeah.
And then she
Mhm.
wants to meet Sherry, and she says there is a problem with the kid that is not behaving very well,
Mm-hmm.
and then she has lots of other additional problems. So she has this fear. She's gonna talk
Okay.
to the teacher of her kid, and looks like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't say that she's single or married, but she has two kids, and it says if she weren't a working mother, so she works probably to feed the kids, which probably means that she's by herself, right? So she's having problems with her kid. She has a job. And let's continue here really quick, please, to see what's going to happen and what you think
Mm-hmm.
of this situation, please.
Sherry thought regretfully about last night. She'd planned to work on Amy's costume then, using her talents to make a special day for her little girl, but her mother had dropped over unexpectedly. Good manners dictated that she plays hostess, and another evening was shot. The memories of her attempts to salvage the time weren't pretty. Trying to be diplomatic, Cherry artfully told her mother, "You can't imagine how much I enjoy your surprise visits, Mom. But I was wondering, would you mind if I sew Amy's costume while we talk?" Cherry cringed inwardly, cordially anticipating her mother's response. "Cherry, I'd be the last to intrude on your time with your family." Cherry's mother, widowed for 12 years, had elevated her widowhood to the status of martyrdom. Martyrdom?
Yeah, she's playing the role of a martyr.
Ah, okay, okay.
Probably she's going to say, no, how can you sue the costume for your girl if I am a visit, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, since your father died, it's been such an empty time. I still miss our family. How could I deprive you of that for yourself?
Okay. Uh, and then what does she think? What does Sherry think? She accepts her mother's suggestion not to sue, not to work, because she needs to finish the dress of her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But the mother is visiting, so she wants to be diplomatic, but the mother also wants full attention. What's going to happen here? This is getting interesting.
Yeah, I'll bet I found out how Sherry talked to herself. That's why I can understand why you don't bring Walt and the children to see me much anymore. How could I be entertaining? I'm just a lonely old lady who gave her entire life to her children. Who would want to spend any time with me?
Okay, this is an emotional trick, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like my mother a little bit. But then I respond with jokes. I don't feel guilty. I say, "Oh, mom," she says, "Oh, your brothers are so generous with me. They give me money." And they say, "Oh, mom, don't worry. Let's ask Ralph if he can give me money too." And of course, I don't. She laughs. She likes that. Okay. Well, you want to continue, Mickey, or you want Mitch to
Yeah.
continue?
Um, Whoever it's okay. I don't know if Mitch is still in the session.
Uh, I don't see her. Well, maybe she had a problem with the connection. Well, let's continue.
No, Mom, no, no, no. Sherry quickly joined the emotional minute. She and her mom have been dancing for decades. That's not what I meant at all. I mean, it's so special having you over. Goodness knows, with our schedule, we'd like to visit more, but we just haven't even we just haven't been able to. That's why I'm so glad you took the initiative. Lord, don't strike me dead for this little lie, she prayed silently. In fact, I can do the costume any old time, Sherry said. Forgive me for this lie too. Now, why don't I make some coffee? Her mother sighed. All right, if you insist, but I just hate to think I'm intruding.
Well, what do you think of this conversation, Mickey?
uh, I think that it's a common conversation between families and between, I don't know, for example, my parents and the parents. Well, in this case, my grandparents.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
because
Yes.
for example, when my grandparents of part of my mom lived in Matamoros.
Yes. Yes.
I remember I remember those kind of conversations.
They are common, right? In all the
Yeah.
in every family, they are.
Hmm.
Ok- Okay. Well, let's continue a little bit, and then we talk a little bit more about this, please.
Yeah.
Um, the visit lasted.
The visit lasted well into the night. By the time her mother left, Cherry felt absolutely crazy, but she justified it to herself. At least I've helped make her lonely day a little brighter. Then a pesky voice spewed out, if you helped so much, why was she still while talking about her loneliness when she left? Trying to ignore the thought, Cherry went to bed.
Okay. Now it's 6:45, and she didn't complete the dress of her daughter, and she didn't do many other things. Let's see her day.
Hmm.
Let me read this short paragraph, Mickey, if you wish,
Yeah.
and then you can take over in the next one. Here's Mitch. Mitch is back. Let me add her to the stream. Hello, Mitch. You're back.
Hi, sir. Yes, I got disconnected because I changed the device.
Oh, okay, okay, nice. Do you want to read the 6:45 a.m.? We're
Sure.
gonna give you a brief summary. Sherry didn't complete sewing the dress, and now it's 6:45 in the morning.
Oh,
Her mom
okay.
visited, which is okay, but
Uh-huh.
she didn't feel okay working while chatting. So let's see what happens here. 6:45.
Okay, okay, okay. 6 and 3 quarters a.m. Cherry returned to the present. No use crying over spilled time, I guess. She mumbled to herself as she struggled to close the zipper of her black linen skirt. Her favorite suit had become, as many others had, too tight. Middle age spread so soon, she thought. This week I really have to go on the diet and start exercising. The next hour was, as usual, a disaster. The kids whined about getting out of bed, and Wal complained, can't you get the kids to the table on time?"
Well, now the husband is scolding her, or the boyfriend is scolding her. Let's read the next one. Mickey, thank you, Mitch. Mickey, please, can you do 7:45?
7:45 a.m. Miraculously, the kids made it to their rides. Walt left for work in his car, and Cherry went out and looked the front door after her. Taking a deep breath, she breathed silently. Lord, I'm not looking forward to this day. Give me something to hope for. In her car on the freeway, she finished applying her makeup. Thanks, thank the Lord for traffic jams.
Okay, she's getting some time. 8:45, Mitch, please, rushing.
8:45 a.m. Rushing into Mia Lister Enterprises, where she worked as a fashion consultant, she glanced at her watch, only a few minutes late. Maybe by now her colleagues understood that being late was a way of life for her and did not expect her to be on time. She was wrong. They started the weekly executive meeting with her. Sherry tried to tiptoe. What means tiptoe?
To walk on the tip of your toes, like the puntitas.
Oh, okay.
She tried to tiptoe in
Uh-huh.
to enter into the meeting in silence, trying not to be noticed.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay, okay. Tiptoe in without being noticed. But every eye was on her, and she struggled into her seat. Mm. Looking around, she gave a fleeting smile and muttered something about that crazy traffic.
Okay. So it looks like she's having problems with her time, managing her time, managing the limits. Let's read this last section, Mickey, please. Can you?
Mhm. 11:59. The rest of Cherry's morning proceeded fairly well. A talented fashion designer, Cherry had an unerring eye for attractive clothing and was available as set to Michael Easter. The only hitch came just before lunch. Her extension rang. Cherry Phillips? Cherry, thank goodness you're there. I don't know what I have done if you'd been at lunch. There was no mistaking this voice. Cherry had known Louis Thompson since grade school. A high strong man, Louis was always in crisis. Cherry had always tried to make herself available to Lois, to be there for her. But Lois never asked Cherry how she was doing, and when Cherry mentioned her struggles, Lois either changed the subject or had to leave.
Yeah. So she's overcommitted for others, but not being reciprocated, apparently, right? At least with this friend. Have you seen that situation, Mickey, where a person, let's call person A, gives a lot to B, but when it's time to give back, he or she or A gives always to B, right? Let me
Yeah,
put this. A is giving to B. What's the opposite? Is this one. Oops, no, this one. But now it's time for B to give something to A and B changes the subject. Have you seen this in Friends? Maybe classmates? What do you think of this in a novel, in a movie? What
yeah,
is?
I've seen those cases. For example, in my class, there's a girl who always tried to support all her classmates, you know. But to
Yes,
be honest, it's not something. How's it reciprocate?
reciprocated. People
Yeah.
don't appreciate that very much.
Mm-hmm.
And
And they always ask for her to help, but when she needs something, the majority of my group just ignore her.
and does she? What does she think about that? Have you talked about that? Have they talked about this? What is the issue in this case? What do you think of this situation, Mitch? What Mickey is talking about?
I did not understand so much. Uh, she's mean?
No, no, no. She's always helping out others. But when there is
Oh,
time for her to be helped by others, when she asks for help, there is no reciprocity. So,
uh-huh.
what do you think about this situation? Why does that happen? Why doesn't she put or establish limits? And I'm talking
Mhm.
with all respect because we're not. mentioning names. We just know that Mickey mentioned this topic. Thank you, Mickey.
Yes,
How
sure.
how does she establish limits? What does she have to do? If you were her friend, what would you tell her, Mitch?
Okay, I think that girl helps everyone, but not
Yeah.
everyone are her friends. Then I think there is exists this feeling like an animals of I forget how to say manada,
Flock.
the flock, kinda between humans. They're made their groups, and if you are not a part of that flock, no matter how kindly you being with them, they're not going to help you. Maybe not being their ultra super friend, but at least get along. And I'm not saying that she not get along with them, but well, guess that she not talk talk with uh, many people or don't have a lot of friends.
Yeah, but she's helping people a lot. So when she needs help, she doesn't receive the same. So the question for you or Mickey, I guess, Mickey, what do you think she has to do? How does she establish boundaries? Which is the topic of the book, right? How do people establish boundaries?
Mm, I think that it's necessary to know how when it's necessary to say no, because in occasions people take advantage uh, of other people just because these people don't say no and always are so we say permissive or that always are so um accessible. And I think that we need to establish boundaries and sometimes it's necessary to put ourselves first than the others.
Yeah, as for some people, it is difficult to set boundaries with, well, as with all the ones that we mentioned at the beginning. Remember that we said that when we were reading the contents, we said boundaries and boundaries and your family, boundaries and your friends, boundaries and your spouse, boundaries and your children, boundaries and work, boundaries and yourself, boundaries and God. Sometimes it is not easy to establish a boundary. For example, with a friend, in the case of the lady with her mom, right? She had difficulties saying, "Oh, mom, I'm sorry, I can't." It's her mom, after all, right? The lady of the book, the chapter here that we were talking about. However, she's suffering herself. She has some commitments to carry out that she is missing. She didn't finish her daughter's dress, according to the story here in the book. So there are some cases where establishing a boundary is difficult. How do you do that, Mitch or Mickey?
Mm. In which case?
And in in the case
Hmm.
where it is more difficult, because when actually you care for the person, you may care a lot for your friends, but that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you shouldn't establish a boundary, a limit. You love, we love, I love, everybody loves their mom, but there should be a way to establish limits with ourselves, with our family, with everyone. I think that's something that we need to be very clear about.
Yes.
How do we come out of those sometimes emotional traps? And it's not that it's bad intended, but sometimes it's a little emotional trap. How do we come out of those?
um, I think that mm, it is necessary to establish boundaries in every aspect of our life. I said yesterday with our family, with our friends, with ourselves too, because a life without boundaries, I think that it's a life where you can easily lose your lose your respect and lose your respect, for example, in terms of time, in terms of sharing time with others. So I think that it's necessary to establish boundaries in every aspect and try to have a balance.
Yeah, that is very true. What do you think, Mitch? Before I say something, make a comment. But I like Mickey's comment very much, of course.
Um, well, yeah. Uh, mm, I forgot my idea.
Okay, don't worry. I'm going to mention an example of a former job, a job that I had many years ago. I was working for a German company called Siemens, and the official end was at 6 p.m. However, if you left the factory at 6 p.m., people would look at you and sometimes grimace and make gestures and say, "Why are you leaving so early?" Well, it's 6 o'clock. It's time to go home. Here in Mexico, of course. When I was working in the
Yes.
US, if you left after 6 p.m., people would look at you and say, "What are you doing here? Time is over, right?" They're punctual to start and punctual to leave, which is good. But here, we tend to, I mean, companies tend to abuse the workers. So you finish at 6 and you go home, they look at you badly, right? Like if you were a thief stealing time from the company. So I had an issue at home, and I started to arrive at 7 because it was bad to finish work at 6. And then they complained. They said, "You're always arriving late." And I said, "Yeah, but if I arrive early, I think that I'm stealing time from the company." You know what the smart response was? They said to me, "Well, yeah, but if you arrive much later, you're stealing time from the family," which is also true. And that was an
Mhm.
excellent response. I said, "Oh my gosh, this is so true." Right? So actually, the best thing to do is to be fair with yourself, with the time, and with the conditions. What do you think about this, Mitch, Mickey?
Yeah, of course. As I said, there always must be a balance in everything. I think so.
Yeah, well, just take the case of the mother and the daughter. The lady is getting an advice, unannounced visit from her mom, which is always nice. But she had the commitment of finishing the dress for the daughter, so she defaulted on the daughter's dress because she couldn't chat. She couldn't wear what she was chatting with her mom. What do you think of this, Mitch? Where did she falter? Where did she make a mistake, or if she ever made a mistake, the lady here?
No, it's only the thing that you not put boundaries and say yes, yes, and yes, but when it's your turn to please yourself, you sometimes forget yourself, and this there where the problems start in every aspect.
Right, exactly. Well, we can only guess what is the end of the story right here at 4 o'clock. So it says a day um, with a boundaryless life, and then let's see how the day ended. What do you think? How do you think the day ended in this chapter? A day in a boundaryless life. How do you think the story ended for this lady this very day?
Mm, Probably that she couldn't do all the things that she needed to for the reason that she gave her time to people who doesn't appreciate.
Don't deserve it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They don't appreciate it, and they don't deserve it, as Mitch says. They don't deserve it. And that is sometimes not very easy to realize, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes you come to realize that a bit later than needed, but well, it's better later than never, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's see if it really ended like that. Um, well, who wants to read this section, please? 11:30
Me.
p.m., end of the day.
11 and a half p.m. Years ago, sure, I could have cleaned up after dinner, got 10 the kids to bed on time, and performed Jeff's headed up project with ease. A cup of coffee after dinner and the adrenaline rush that accompanied races and deadlines galvanized Shuri into superhuman feats and productivity. She wasn't called Super Shuri for nothing, but it was becoming noticeably harder these days. Stress didn't work like it used to. More and more, she was having thrombo
Trouble.
trouble concentrating, forgetting dates and deadlines, and not even caring a great deal about it all. Uh, at any rate, by sheer willpower, she had completed most of her task. Maybe Jeb's project had suffered a little in quality, but she felt too resentful to feel bad. But I did say yes to let Jed share it out. It's not his fault, it's mine. Why couldn't I tell him how unfair it was for him to lay this on me? No time for that now. She had to get with her real task for evening her talk with Walt. Her and Walt's courtship, an early marriage had been pleasant, where she'd been confused. Walt had been decisive, where
Decisive. Decisive.
decisive. Besides, she felt insecure. He'd been strong. Not that Sherry wasn't contributing to the marriage. She saw Walt's lack of emotional connectedness, and she had taken upon herself the job of providing the word warm, warmth and
Warmth.
love. And love the relationship lacked. God has put together a good team. She would tell herself what has the leadership and have to love. This will help her get over the lonely times when he couldn't seem to understand her or understand, understand her feelings. But over the years, Sherry noticed a shift in the relationship. It started off subtly, then became more pronounced. She could hear it
Pronounce.
pronounced
Pronounce.
pronounced. She could hear it in his sarcastic tone when she had a complaint. She saw it in the lack of respect on his eyes when she tried to tell him about her needs for more support from him. She felt in his increasingly I, insistent demands for her to do things his way.
Okay, that is very interesting and very important. And that relates to what Mickey was saying a little while ago, when he mentioned that you earned the respect, we earn respect, but we also lose it. We also lose respect when we just say yes to everything without, if we don't respect ourselves first, how can we pretend to be respected by others, right? And
Hmm.
a first sign of having respect for ourselves is, I think, having respect for our time and having others respect it. Is it not true, Mickey, Mitch?
Yeah,
Totally.
exactly. I think that it's always necessary to show respect to ourselves, because when people see that you respect yourself, that you respect your time, that you respect the value that you have as a person, I think that people respect you too.
Respect you.
Yeah, that's very, very important. And it's not always easy to tell when we are forgetting ourselves, right? If we
Hmm.
give in to any demand, to any petition from anyone, just like that, we're probably lacking a little bit. Maybe it could be a lack of self-esteem that happens to those people. What do you think? Or why do always say, or why do they say yes to everything without regard to their other commitments? Why does that happen with a lot of people? I've known a lot of people like that. I was a little bit like that at one time. I think I have salted a little bit, not too much, but maybe a little. But why does that happen? The people tend to say yes to any kind of requests.
Mm, even if the request they don't want to do it, um, people don't tend to be conscious about that situation that they could not like that request, but people going to see that person as an option of help, oh, I can do this, but I'm not someone who can. Uh, and they look at you just for that and not for something else. And I think that's very sad, but often happens, and I see it a lot of times.
You see that. You see that.
Yes.
Okay. Very interesting. Thank you, Mitch. I'm going to ask you a question about that in a moment. What do you think, Mickey?
Mm, can you repeat the question, teacher?
Yeah, of course, of course. Sometimes it's hard for people to say no, which is the
Yeah, yeah.
title of the book, right? The,
Mhm.
the title of the book is actually boundaries, when to say yes, when to say no. Because people say no sometimes when we should say no. Sorry, I can't. I love to help you, but today I'm so busy, I'm tied up. Um,
I think
what do you
that
think?
yeah, obviously it's something that uh, happened to me too, and it is because I think that sometimes I waited that these people are gonna do the same for me, because I think that sometimes we think that we're gonna receive the same, but in occasions it is completely different.
Um, do you think, Mickey, that it is appropriate to clarify the clauses because at the end it's a contract, right? Hey, Mickey,
Yeah.
can you help me with this homework? Yes, of course. I'd love to. Um, can you? Is it wise? Is it fair to establish some kind of agreement? Like, of course, I'm gonna help you. Maybe not so bluntly, so openly, but maybe in the future, or maybe jokingly, right? Of course, I'm gonna help you because I'm sure that sometime in the future I'm gonna need your help too, right? You
Mhm.
can make a joke, you can make a serious contract. I mean, there are many ways to establish a commitment on both
Mhm.
sides. I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
that is important to say it very openly, very subtly, but it's important to establish that. What do you think, Mitch?
Yes, because I don't know if it's the change of time of always being like this. That I always hear the phrase since I'm as a kid that treat others that the way you want to be treated, but the reality, or at least at my perspective, I don't see that. Okay, I can treat people like this and that, but the people don't treat me like that, and people treat me in some way. I never treat them like their way, even if I like their way. It's just my personality, their personality. I'm not saying that that's something bad or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe not every people are so reciprocity as others could be, and maybe
Yeah,
that's not always something bad, but it's just curious.
yeah. What do you do when somebody does not reciprocate? Let's say that you are very kind to a person, maybe to a classmate. Hey, Mitch, can you get me the homework? Oh, this one time only. Okay, here. And the next day, Mitch, this is the second time I ask you for this. This will be the last one. Okay, here's the homework. And then one third time. And then one day you're in a hurry. Hey, I need a ride. Or hey, Lupito, Panchito, Juanita, whatever the name is. Um, you know what? I forgot to do my homework. I lost it. I whatever. Can you get me the homework? Oh, Mitch, I'm sorry, but I work so much in this homework. Sorry this time. Maybe later. Maybe some other day. What do you think? What do you do in those cases?
Mm, maybe not being so. Uh, I think in that cases it could apply. Treat others can't be treated. I mean, if I pass my homework to someone and other time I ask for a homework to that same person and they don't give me it, I could consider not to ever pass her him a homework ever again, only if she or he pass me again a homework. It depends of their decision of each people how the other's going to reciprocate to you. But I'm saying still, it depends of the people. That's my perspective and my way of acting. But there's exist people that no matter how much the other people fail to them, they are still helping them. And for some people that could be pretty noble and generous, but I see it kind of dumb.
Um, Interesting, very interesting comment. Mickey, what do you think, please?
Mm, yeah, I think that uh, it is always necessary to. How can I say this?
To keep a balance?
Yeah, it is always necessary to keep a balance in everything, with our own activities too, with our work, with our family, with our friends, with our time. I think that it's necessary to always keep a balance. And for example, if you can help these people or help this person at this moment, it's okay, do it. But if you can't, it is okay. And there always must be agreements that, okay, if I can't help you, sorry, I would love to do it, but if now I can't, just I'm not gonna do it, and you need to understand it, and vice versa. I think so. Just always have the agreements.
Yeah. Fortunately, people have the great power of communication and open and honest communication. Right? You know what? I'd love to help you, but I'm very swamped with work. Or I really can't because of this or that. It's always nice to give an explanation. When you give an
Uh-huh.
explanation for something, positive or negative reaction, is it clarifies things. It opens the path to new possibilities. You know what? I'd love to help you, but not today. Maybe tomorrow, because today I don't have time, or I'm very tired. I don't have the energy, or whatever. And it's legal. It's legal. I think the best question is that which allows the other person to say yes or no. You are not cornering the person, right? You're not cornering the people. If you corner
Absolutely.
a person, yes, yes, Mickey.
Oh yeah, I'm listening to you, teacher.
Yeah, if we corner a person and force him or force her to say yes or to say no, then they are not responding out of freedom. They are not answering or coming up with a question with an answer out of freedom, but out of coercion. And you know the word coercion, right?
Yeah.
So it's not fair. And
Teacher,
yes, Mitch,
give me 1 minute. I'm going to change a device.
of course, no problem, no problem, of
Yes.
course. So if I ask a question of you, or ask a question of anyone, or someone asks a question of me, or asks a favor of me, and I can say yes or I can say no, I'm free to decide, right? And yeah, I can be kind enough. You can be kind to say, you know what, I cannot this time because of this or that, and that's legal. That's fair. But if somebody tells me you need to do this or else, then they are cornering me. They are exerting coercion, and that is not, first of all, is not nice, and sometimes it's not even legal, right?
Mhm.
And so we need to be very aware of this. And sometimes, like in the case of that we just read, right, there are psychological tricks, psychological traps, uh, mostly among family members. It's more
Mhm.
common that this happens and it's normal, not normal, it's common that these situations happen. And so is, I think it's important to come out of this nicely, politely, sometimes using humor, right? And no feelings hurt. You don't hurt feelings.
Yeah.
What do you think of this idea, Mickey?
Yeah. Obviously, I think that the response of everything is the communication. So it is necessary to try to have a good communication, and always establish the things that you want to do and the things that you don't want to do it that you don't want to do, because sometimes that's why there are a lot of problems or issues for the bad communication.
Yes, yes, I hear you. I believe that is extremely important that we learn what we are willing to do and we learn what we are not willing to do. And for this, I'd like to mention that old story. I don't know if I mentioned this to you once, but a good friend of mine,
Hmm.
he's been my friend for almost 40 years, I think, 35 years. He's older than me. He's my dad's age, but he's a great friend. He said this to me once. There are two friends that go to the jungle,
Hmm.
and then very good friends. And this is about limits, boundaries. And the friend says, "You know what? I need to go to the bathroom." Oh, okay, go, go, go. He's doing number two. And then there is a snake that bites him. Oh my, a snake bit me. You need to go look for a doctor. And he goes to the city running and running and running, right?
Hmm.
And he sees a doctor, and the doctor, oh, Mitch is back. Let me here. Are you back, Mitch?
Yes.
Okay, I was telling Mickey a short story, which is very funny about the limits among friends, even among friends.
Mhm.
So these two guys go to the jungle. One of them needs to use the restroom, right? There is no restroom in the jungle, of course. So, but he goes to a bush, to a tree, and then he does number two, and then the snake bites him, and he says, "Oh!" He yells, he starts screaming, "Oh my gosh, my friend, go to see the doctor because uh, snake just bit me. How can I survive?" And he goes to the city running, running, and running, and he sees the doctor. Doctor, what do I have to do to save my friend? Well, the only way for you to save your friend is to suck the poison. And says,
Oh my god.
"Oh gosh!" So he comes
No,
back to the forest, running, running to the jungle, running, running, and running and running like as fast as he could. And
better
then the
let
friend
him
says,
die.
"What did the doctor say to you?" "Well, he said that you're gonna die."
Mm, no,
So he says, "Well, I'm not doing that, you know." So
no,
he
no,
said
I don't
his
accept that. No.
right. He said, "What did the doctor say?" He said that you're dying. You're gonna die. It's a bit comic, but but he tells you that he said, "Well, this is my limit," right?
No,
And it's a
but
bit blunt, but well, it shows that even in friends, even among friends, there are limits, right?
Uh huh.
Um, so, what do you think of the whole concept of establishing limits, even with friends, even with family, even with bosses, subordinates, children, with everyone? How do you like the concept, Mickey Mitch?
Mm, well, I think we learning to put boundary boundaries, diagonal limits, with, in every no science. We are learning from every aspect of life. I mean, as we are getting experience to put limits in every aspect, and that's going to help you to improve as a person. And how can I say this? Make us valid to the eyes to the others.
Make us valuable, make us
Uh-huh.
worth here.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I fully agree. Um, how do we learn this? Who teaches us to establish limits? Is it our parents, our friends, the society?
I
Who
think
tells
everyone,
us? Everyone. Okay.
everyone influence on our lives in some way, even in the a little, even a little, but every people that we meet on all life long teach us something bad or good.
Bad or good, right? Sometimes they teach us how to defend ourselves, right?
Uh-huh.
Very true. I just changed seats because there's going to be another class here. Yeah, okay, very interesting. What can we conclude as important lessons from this topic, from this concept of establishing limits? When is it when is it easy? When is it difficult? What tricks can we, or not tricks? What ideas can we develop or establish to resist to some of the emotional or psychological traps? How can we avoid those hurdles?
Mm, how can we overcome?
Emotional
What was
traps.
overcome?
Overcome, superar.
Oh,
How can we?
Mm, I think that the obviously the answer it's complicated because we are human beings and we are emotional beings. I think so because sometimes I think that the biggest issue is that we mix feelings and we mix emotions and with things that we need to avoid use of emotions. So I think that it is necessary to always be aware of what you're doing and the result that's gonna give you, and always try to have a balance in everything. Because we want to be better friends, we want to be a better uh, son, a better boyfriend, a better whatever. But
Yeah,
I think that not always is possible, and everything is a process, and we need to always try to have a balance in everything.
very true. Very true. So this balance comes from the conviction that we're doing the right thing. So we have to establish our own limits. For example, you can say, I can help my friends, but I need to be home with my family at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or no later than this or this time. So that can give you a guideline that can tell you, well, this is not the time to help you because I need to be with the family. Or, that is, I'd love to do that, but, and you don't need to lie, you just need to establish clearly that being with the family is very important. Or you need to do this, and that comes first. Once you know your priorities, you can easily tell any person, well, my dear friend, I would be very happy to help you, but you know what? I promise to help my wife, my daughter, my brother, my sister, whoever, right? Or I'd love to help you to do that, but truly, I haven't slept very well in the last 3 days. I have only slept 5 hours or 6 hours or whatever, and I need to rest. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the weekend, maybe this or that. What do you think about that idea, Mitch, Mickey? Would you put yourself first? Yourselves first.
Yeah, I think that is the most important thing and the hardest one because sometimes, for the same reason that we mix emotions, that we mix the family or activities, sometimes we don't give the time that we deserve. So I think that it's always try to put yourself first. And I think that it's not something selfish because everyone must do it.
Um, Very, very interesting comment. Thank you, Mickey. Mitch, what do
Mhm.
you think? How do we keep a balance in our activities?
mm, okay. First of all, you have to put yourself on a schedule. I'm going to deliver this time for this and this and that, and always you got to put yourself first if it is mm, you need it, and if you, for example, finish all your obligations and tasks, and you want to do something with them, you are going with other people, uh, you could put time for other people, but the point here, it's not to make yourself less valuable than than the eyes on other people. You are first in this world, individually, each person.
Yeah, and that brings us back to the old situation that we heard once. Remember, when you travel by airplane, the masks come down, and the stewardess, tells you, uh, if there is an emergency, you should put yourself the mask first, and then to your companion, the kid or the baby, whoever's with you. Why is that? Before we finish, let's answer this question, Mickey. Why do you put the mask first and then your companion, even if it's a baby?
Sorry, I was talking with the microphone off. Um, because when you lose the oxygen, or how can I say it?
Oxygen.
The oxygen. Obviously, you can't do anything else because you don't have the oxygen to continue. So first you put the mask, and then you have the chance to help the person who's next to you.
That's very true. That's very true. Mitch, which are the words to summarize this conversation of today?
Mm, you you have to make yourself well, never let that someone else make yourself less valuable than others. Everyone are saying valuable in between people.
Very important comment. Very important comment. Okay, Mitch, Mickey. Well, thank you very much again for
Thank you, teacher.
participating with smart ideas. Tomorrow I have school from 4 to 6, but after 6 I am free. How is your time after 6, Mickey or Mitch?
Mm, 6 to 7,
Mm,
same as today.
For me, it's fine. How about you, Mitch?
seats. Okay.
Would it be okay? Would it work?
Yes.
It's okay.
Okay. Okay.
I tend
Well, yes, yes.
no, I tend to prefer times more earlier, but if it is not possible, that's okay.
I think tomorrow is the last or next to the last module on Wednesdays. So we're gonna have more time after I finish this module, and then uh, it can be earlier.
Uh-huh.
Mondays I can do earlier, and normally Fridays. But this Wednesday in particular is this the last one, this one, and maybe the next one. I'll have class from 4 to 6.
Mhm.
Okay, teacher. Don't worry. Yeah, it's okay.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, you guys take care. Mitch, Mickey, thank you for your comments, and see you tomorrow then, God willing.
Yes,
Thank you
teacher.
so much, teacher.
Thank you for
Have a
your
great
time,
day.
and see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Take care. See you tomorrow.
Take
Goodbye.
care.
Enjoy
Take
your
care.
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.